Welcome back. If you're watching this, you've likely experienced a significant loss. And I want to start by saying, I see you. The truth is, when we experience loss, whether it's death of a loved one, end of a major relationship, loss of a dream or a job, the world tells us or sells us a very tidy story that we move through 5 stages, reach acceptance, and move on. But as a therapist, I'm here to tell you that that story is a lie. The truth is, grief is not a straight line and it's not a process you finish. It's a profound, messy, cyclical process that changes you forever. Today, I want to share 5 truths that I repeat to my clients constantly. And these are the guideposts to help you understand what you are truly experiencing so that you can stop judging your own process. The first and the most critical truth is grief is cyclical. It's not linear, and you will most definitely revisit the past. We expect grief to look like a mountain we climb. We assume that every day we get a little bit higher until one day we reach the summit and it's all over. But the truth is, grief is more like changing seasons. Just when you feel like you're deep into the summer of healing, the winter of pain can roll back in without warning. This is why a year later, 2 years later, a decade later, you can be blindsided by a wave of raw sadness that feels exactly like day one. I tell my clients that you haven't failed, you've just reached another turn in the cycle. The difference now is that you have tools to navigate the turn. And being in this cycle doesn't mean that you are stuck. It just means that your heart is reprocessing the pain or the loss with a new perspective and new strength. So, embrace the revisiting as a necessary part of integrating the experience into your life. The loss is not just the death or the ending. You're grieving multiple losses. When a person dies or a major relationship ends, you lose so much more than that single connection. You lose the shared future that you two had. This is all the vacations, all the conversations, all the what ifs that were supposed to happen. You also lose a part of your identity. If you are a wife, a daughter, a son, a partner, a caregiver, you've lost the role that anchored you or the role that you are playing in that relationship. You also lose the sense of safety or a sense of safety and predictability. In that time, the world feels so unsafe and you've lost the illusion that things would always stay the same. You also lose a witness and memories that you would have made. You've lost the one person that remembered certain things about your life in a way that no one else can. When my clients feel overwhelmed, I encourage them or I ask them to make a list of all the secondary losses that they are carrying. This is because naming them can help you validate why the burden or the loss feels so heavy. You're not weak, you're simply just carrying 10 bags of grief, not just one. So give each and every one of those losses the space and respect that it deserves. The other truth is, grief shows up as everything else. It's a master of disguise. We think grief looks like crying, sadness, talking about the person who we just lost, and sometimes it does. But often, especially after the initial shock fades, grief disguises itself. And it can disguise itself as rage and irritability. This can look like snapping at people, an intense frustration with small things. It can also look like panic and anxiety, suddenly feeling unsafe, restless, and worrying when the next terrible thing is going to happen. The other way that it can disguise itself is through numbness and dissociation. Now, this can look like just going through the motions or basically feeling checked out. Also, using coping mechanisms to avoid feeling anything at all. It can also look like perfectionism and overworking. This is the need to control one area of your life when you feel powerless everywhere else. So, if you find yourself experiencing unexplained anxiety and disproportionate anger, especially months after the loss, I want you to take a step back and ask yourself this. Is this feeling actually grief in disguise? or grief in costume. This is because sometimes giving the disguise its real name is the first step towards true processing. The other point is your body is keeping the score. It needs care, not fixing. The truth is, grief is not just a mental event, it's also a full body experience. Loss is trauma, and trauma is stored in the body. And you might find yourself experiencing chronic fatigue, muscle tension, digestive issues, headaches, and lowered immune system, all those. And this is because your nervous system has been running on high alert for months, sometimes even years. And the world might tell you to push through or just act normal. But the thing is, your body is sending you a clear signal that it's exhausted. I always encourage my clients to focus on care and not performing. This means prioritizing sleep even when it feels impossible, eating for nourishment and not comfort, and finding ways to release stored up energy of grief through gentle movement. The final truth is the goal is integration, not resolution. The idea that you'll ever reach a point whereby the loss is resolved is another societal myth. You don't get over something that fundamentally changed the landscape of your life. Trying to resolve it implies that the loss or the person or the event is sealed off, forgotten, or fixed. And now, when it comes to integration, it's the opposite of that. It means accepting that this loss is now a permanent part of your story, just like an unexpected river running through your landscape. Healing is not about removing the river, it's about building bridges across the river and building a new home nearby. The grief will shift. It might always be there, but you grow stronger in your ability to carry it. You don't shrink the loss, you grow around it. And it's a lifelong process. And that brings us to the end of the video. If these 5 truths resonated with you, I hope you offer yourself a little more compassion because your grief is very normal.